And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. 2021 NOSSCAR GT Cup Series action live from Alsace Village in France on Gran Turismo Sport. And as you can see, 14 drivers from 4 different countries all set and lined up and ready for today's race. It is round 16 of the season, 3 races remaining until we crown a 2021 GT Cup Series champion. Your points leader, Even Steven, is not in today's race. He will take 15th place finishing points, which is only 7 points, but he's got a comfortable margin where he can kind of sort of get away with that, but he can't get away with it once more. JRB leads them to the line. The green lights are on, and they are rocketing into turn 1 in these GR3 cars. Two Mazda Atenzas lead the pack right now. And of course, 60-minute endurance races, no custom setups, no custom tuning at all to these cars. And the balance and performance setting that Gran Turismo Sport offers has been turned on, and that alters the horsepower and the weight of all these cars a little bit up and down, and shifts them a little bit around to even out the playing field and make this very much about the driver versus driver. There you see 2 Brazilian drivers running 3rd and 4th. Lucia just took that 4th place position away from Timac. Eric RX just in front of him started 3rd for this race. Has high hopes to finish there as well in the Honda NSX. Lucia, of course, he's running the Dodge Viper. There's a couple of Vipers in the field. The 2 GTRs running 5th and 6th. That is Timac and Juicy J. We'll go ahead and have the leaderboard for you on the left-hand side of your screen, track map on the right-hand side, and they are working lap 1 here at Alsace. Part-timer this season, JRB. He's got wins, though, in the GT Cup Series and the Super GT Series. And one of those GT Cup wins here in the GR3 cars came earlier this season. Solid start for him on the pole here. It's pretty much win or bust for JRB. He's not coming out here to try to win the championship. However, Bill Baldwin, he is. And he's the top runner amongst all the full-time drivers right now. He's in 2nd. The next full-time driver, you would be looking at Timac, who's running in 5th. He's into today's race 2nd in the point standings and hoping to gain ground on Even Steven, and he will, especially since Steven is going to walk away with 15th place finish points. And how about Bowman Nation? Solid start for him in this race. In the number 88 Chevy Corvette, 13 drivers started the event, and Bowman is solidly inside the top 10, but he's actually going to surrender 7th now to Shadow, who's driving the Ferrari. There's Vargas in the Porsche, making his debut here, and running in 9th. There's Silt Strider, former NOSSCAR champion on NASCAR 15 Victory Edition, rounding out the top 10. A couple of cars already out of the race. Both Brazilian drivers still on the racetrack, running 3rd and 6th respectively. And Lucia is actually gaining some ground here. He's coming towards the front. Two-time NOSSCAR Super GT Series champion Bill Baldwin running in 2nd, knows all about winning, knows all about podiums here in NOSSCAR, runs sport mode races on here very frequently. He's been playing this game almost on a daily basis since it was released back in 2017, and he's been racing in NOSSCAR ever since NOSSCAR started hosting leagues on Gran Turismo Sport, and that was back in 2019. Santa Lucia running in 3rd, having a solid start to this race in the Dodge Viper. And the Viper team really does need a solid driver right now, not having Ned in this race or Footman, so it's great to see the Dodge Viper team still have a car on track and competing for these wins. And now Eric RX is on pit road with some sort of issue. He surrenders the top 5 position because of all of this, and that Honda number 99 NSX is come in early here. It's very off sequence, and it's going to come around to bite him here. Maybe in the end, he might need to make one extra pit stop compared to the competition around him. Vargas in the Porsche still running in 8th. Bowman Nation brings his number 88 Chevy Corvette to pit road. Good news is for drivers here today that if they do make a mistake and they need to come to pit road, it's not a very long drive to their pit stall. As much time as they would at some of the other tracks that we've been to this season. For the Mazda Atenza show so far, JRB's got the lead. Bill Baldwin running in 2nd. Both of those drivers very good friends. They've been racing together for years here on Gran Turismo Sport. And problems there for Santa Lucia, and as you can see, that Dodge Viper, number 87 car, he's running in 3rd, and there's really nothing wrong with him here. Got a nice corner there and a nice exit, but as you can see, he's just about to disappear, and there he does. And so the Brazilian driver with some sort of mechanical issue, and he is now done for the day. And after running in 3rd, that is a heartbreaker for Santa Lucia, who is looking for a strong run in his debut. That leaves the 3rd place position with Timac 11. 2nd in the point standings coming into this race, 2 wins this season. And of course this year's Rolex 8 winner for the Super GT class, driving the 2011 Audi R18. Just behind him, Juicy J, former NOSSCAR champion on NASCAR 15. And we've seen these 2 drivers, Ty and Juicy, they've been locked together for a lot of these races all season long. The GTR teammates, same car of course, so they're definitely going to be very evenly matched when it comes to the equipment they bring to these races. And you can tell all season long that they're very evenly matched in terms of skill as well. And nobody will ever forget their side-by-side finish. Came down to 4/100ths of a second between them at Dragon Trail earlier this season. Shadow is up in 5th, but he's going to surrender a top 5 position now to Eric RX. Eric is going to put a Brazilian driver back inside the top 5. We've seen 2 different races this year where 3 different countries were represented on the podium, and Eric is the last driver on the racetrack and still actively in the race for Brazil. A good run for him so far, all things considered, and we haven't really seen a Honda NSX really perform all that great thus far in 2021, and with only 3 races remaining, including today. It's better late than never, and Eric has given them a good show. Smooth and steady and methodical, Juicy J, always working his way slowly through the field. Very similar driving style to his teammate Timac. It's been a great partnership for them this year, and they come into this race 2nd and 4th in the point standings. Timac 2nd, Juicy 4th, and they're both in the top 5 on the track here today. Juicy J has finished on the podium a number of times this season, has come close to winning a couple of these races. And they were both able to drive away from Eric RX there. Eric's been on pit road, Shadow is not. And Robert Lohman Sr. in 7th place has already been to pit road once as well, and that number 42 Chevy Corvette. Bowman Nation running in 8th, and the number 88 Chevy Corvette, and Strider having a really tough time here in this one. Rounding out the current drivers left actively racing on the racetrack. We started with 14, we're down to 9. The leader is working lap 5, and we are at the 9-minute mark of this 60-minute endurance race at the Alsace Village in France. It's round 16 of 18 here in the 2021 NOSSCAR GT Cup Series, hosted here on Gran Turismo Sports, the 3rd annual season for this series. Driving the GR3 cars. In the very first season, 2019 season, we ran with custom tuning allowed for these drivers, but for 2020 and this year, 2021, we've turned the custom tuning on, or excuse me, off rather, And the balance of performance setting turned on. So these cars very evenly matched, very all about the driver versus driver in these races, and it brings the field a whole lot closer. Some of these drivers that have really never had a shot to win these races before have come to life and had a breakout season, and not only have had a shot to win these races, but some of them have went out there and won races and stood on the podium this season. Timac with 2 wins, Jesse Carlson getting that big win at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. There's been a lot of feel-good stories here this season. Ned and Footman winning the Rolex 8 for this GT Cup class. There's been a lot of history made in 2021 for NOSSCAR on Gran Turismo Sport. Ty's got to be feeling pretty good about where he's sitting right now on the leaderboard. The only one that's going to hound him for position at all for the remainder of this race seems to be Juicy J. They've both been able to drive away from Eric RX, the Brazilian driver, and then behind him, Shadow seems to be struggling with some handling issues, and he's not gaining any ground on any of the top 5 at this time. So I know there's a lot of time left, but there's a bit of a gap, there's a bit of a divide from about the top 4 onward. The top 4 seem to be kind of on their own and in a league of their own, and 5th on back seem to be having their work cut out for them for the remainder of this race. They've all either made a mistake at some point or another, or they've been to pit road for an unscheduled pit stop. 6 cars are on the lead lap. Bowman Nation has went a lap down there just a moment ago. Shadow, the last car on the lead lap at this time, but he's not in any immediate danger of losing that lead lap status as we work lap 8 here in France. Excuse me, lap 7 rather. JRB now coming down the hill towards the start-finish line. Still has a couple of more bends and a couple of more turns to go. Very challenging, very tricky racetrack. Couple of blind turns, and some of these blind turns are blind turns because of the trees and the forestry at the inside of these corners. But some of them are blind turns because of the wild elevation change. Suddenly you're going uphill, and then you come down and to the left and to the right. And there's chicanes, there's an S-bend, there's a little bit of everything here. But overall, a very challenging circuit, that is for sure, and we've been in a bit of a challenging stretch when it comes to the schedule. We had a night race recently, and that was at Mount Panorama. We had a rain race before that, the Red Bull Ring, Northern Isle, the Oval, very much a Bristol Motor Speedway style racetrack in these cars. Picture that, folks. It was wild, and so we've been in a bit of a wild stretch when it comes to tracks. The Nürburgring Nordschleife as well, where Jesse Carlson won. And today seems to be no different. As you can see, these drivers have their hands full. 5 drivers are now out of the race and done for the day. We started with 14, down to 9. The attrition has been quite significant so far here today. The top 2 have broken away from the rest of the field a little bit. It's not a major gap or anything, but it's about a second and a half, or excuse me, 3 seconds back to Timac in 3rd. J right there behind him in 4th, and then the long gap. It's about a 22-second gap from Juicy J in 4th back to Eric RX, who's running in the 5th place position. And the Honda NSX still having a great run here for his debut in the 2021 GT Cup Series season. Shadow, a full-timer, sitting 8th in the point standings coming into this race, running 6th right now on the racetrack, has 1 top 5 this season. And looking to add to that, driving the Ferrari, making it look pretty strong here. Bowman Nation was on pit road already with some sort of problem. Has since then repaired the car, but still struggling with some handling issues. There you see, ran that corner a little wide and nearly clobbered the wall, clobbered the guardrail there, but he was able to hold on to it, get it back on track fairly quickly actually, and soldier on. And JRB surrenders the race lead in the Mazda Atenza, and he's going to pit at the 15-minute mark. And guys, I don't know, these 60-minute endurance races, they open the door for a lot of strategy, especially when it comes to the pit stop strategy. And he might be going for a 3-stop strategy, pitting at the 15, 30, and 45-minute marks of this 1-hour endurance race. Nobody else peeled down pit road there, so they might be thinking 2-stopper, but in the reality of it all, JRB is not that far behind Juicy J and Timac, so the 3-stop strategy might be the way to go, especially if JRB can keep clicking off lightning quick lap times like he's been doing. He's been the fastest car on the racetrack since the green lights turned on, and if he can keep it that way, then this three-stop strategy might be the way to go, and he might have 2 wins this season. It's been a wild season, ups and downs for a lot of these drivers, and the Rolex 8 really threw off some of them. Some of them elected to enter the Super GT class for round 1 of the season. Round 1 for both series was in the Rolex 8 at Le Mans. And drivers like Bill Baldwin and Timac, even Steven, they had to climb their way out of a hole that they made themselves after not entering the GT Cup class in the Rolex 8. Bill Baldwin comes into this race 4th in the point standings. Timac in 2nd in the point standings. As they run, Juicy J is now actually 4th in the point standings, rather, and Bill with the lead would be in 3rd. So it's all changing, and they're all fairly close to each other, but it's even Steven, the points leader, that has a comfortable cushion in the points, and he's not even here for today's race. We saw some smoke there. I think Bill Baldwin drove it in a little too hot into that last corner, and he gathered it back up. He did a pretty good job too, but lost a little bit of time. See what Bill's trying to do. He's trying to make this 2-stopper work, and he's trying to make it work in a sense where JRB is not going to be in front of him at the end of his 3 stops, and Bill can maintain the gap with his 2-stop strategy. As you can see, JRB is caught. Timac and Juicy J just hasn't been able to do anything with either one of them yet. So the strategy for Bill is to run as far as you can and try to be in front of JRB at the end of the 2 separate strategies. JRB going for the 3-stop and Bill Baldwin going for the 2-stop. Kind of looks like Timac, Juicy J, they might be in the same boat for a 2-stop call here in today's race. Really good battle here, and they're coming up to the start-finish line, and therefore they're coming up to the pit road entrance as well. We'll have to see if any of these guys peel off the track and go to pit road. They don't. In fact, Bill Baldwin is the only taker. He's going to surrender the race lead, bring the number 21 Mazda Atenza to pit road. And now we see our 3rd different race leader of the race, and it is Timac in the Nissan GTR. He led that lap this time by, but JRB was able to work his way around Juicy J, and now that puts him into 2nd as of now on the leaderboard. And once Timac and Juicy come to pit road, JRB will reassume his position as the race leader, but he might do that before they both come to pit road. Oh, and he might. That number 12 Mazda Atenza, JRB, is strong here today. Part-timer. It's win or bust for him. Coming out to try to win these races and steal the show, steal the spotlight. He's got wins in the GT Cup Series. He's got wins in the Super GT Series and the GR1 cars as well. We can tell you, Eric RX, the Brazilian driver, has come in for his 2nd pit stop of the race here at the 22-minute mark. He's back on the racetrack. And and rocking and rolling again. We had a local yellow back there, I believe. Oh no, it was actually for Shadow. Shadow running in the 6th place position now, falls 1 lap down to your race leader, and we have 5 cars left on the racetrack. 5 cars off the racetrack. Excuse me, 5 cars on the lead lap on the racetrack, excuse me, 9 left, still actively competing and racing here at Alsace Village in France on Gran Turismo Sport. 5 cars in total out of today's race. We started with 14. The attrition has been high for the last couple of races. We had 7 drivers running at the finish for our rain race at the Red Bull Ring. That was quite the challenge for these drivers, and JRB is your new race leader here in France. And I'm a little bit surprised, but Timac has not brought his car to pit road. Juicy J didn't do it either. And I really wonder if they're thinking about a one-stop strategy, but I'll tell you, I don't think that that's the way to go. It's a short entrance to pit road. It doesn't take you long to get there and make service. And Juicy J is on pit road. He's getting that service. Pit stop, and he's pitting at the 25-minute mark, so I don't know, he's close enough to the point where he might be able to stretch it on the fuel he has and make it on 1 stop, but I really doubt it. Timac stays on the racetrack for 1 more. Bill Baldwin up to 3rd, not too far behind him. Bill, of course, 2-time NOSSCAR Super GT Series champion here on Gran Turismo Sport, driving those GR1 cars. He's winless here in the 2021 GT Cup season. Many podiums and top 5 finishes, but just hasn't seemed to be able to click it all together and get it all together for 1 run in 1 race and make it happen and park it in victory lane. For his pit stop, Juicy J comes out in 4th. Might be able to go to the end from here, but more than likely will have to come in for a quick splash of fuel near the end of this race, and time will tell for that one. But it was important to mention that he still came out only in 4th. There's a huge gap in between himself and the Brazilian driver of Eric RX, who is the last car on the lead lap at this time. Top 5 cars still rocking and rolling on the lead lap. 9 cars left on the racetrack. Fulmination in the Corvette beginning to reel in Shadow a little bit in the Ferrari. That is going to be a battle for 6th here in the near future. Be interesting to see if Ty comes to pit road this time. It's going to be the 28.5-minute mark when he comes by pit road this time by. Oh, if that's, yeah, no, he's gonna stay on the track here again. Oh no, he isn't. Sorry, I thought he was actually on the racing surface there. No, he was heading to pit road. And you can see that he had 2% fuel left. That is pretty much running it completely dry. And when he leaves, we'll be working the 29-minute mark of this race. He's more than likely close enough to make it from here to the end on the fuel that he has. I don't think it's going to be a good enough call to get him the win here today, but it might be good enough to lock himself onto the podium. It's not the first time this year that we've seen Timac go off strategy from the leaders, completely risk it all, and we've seen it go both ways. We saw him win at Dragon Trail with the one-stop strategy, and we've seen him finish on the podium and come up short with those one-stop strategies. JRB surrenders the lead, 2nd scheduled pit stop. Again, folks, going for that 3-stop strategy. So he's pitting here at the 30-minute mark, and then expect him in again at about the anywhere from 44 to 46-minute mark. He might even come in about 10 minutes from now at the 40-minute mark when his fuel window opens, just so he can use the 4 fresh tires for longer. Kind of depends how he wants to play it from here. And Bill Baldwin, the race leader, not too far in front of JRB, and the thing is, he's going to be reeling Bill in until Bill makes his next pit stop. As of right now, JRB's got those fresher tires, and he's going to be trying to put them to good use. freshest tires on the racetrack amongst the top 4 go to Timac. But the problem with that is, if he's trying to make it on the one-stop strategy, you guys saw how much fuel he had when he came into pit road, and that was at the 29-minute mark. So he needs to run a little bit more conservative than he did in the first run, and that means not pushing his hardest on those 4 fresh Michelin tires. Everybody's got super softs on. Juicy J as well took the super softs, and he's the driver that we're kind of, we drew a question mark on our piece of paper here for when it comes to the strategy in this race for Juicy J. He pit to take his service at the 25-minute mark of this race, so he could really go either way. He might be good enough to go the entire distance of the race on the one stop, but honestly, the odds are, like I'm thinking about an 85% chance, he's going to need to come back to pit road at some point before the end of this race, at the very least for a splash of fuel. But in my opinion, if you're coming to pit road and costing yourself that much time to begin with, you might as well take tires and see if you can make it back. Make some of that time back. And the battle for the lead is on. JRB is there. The 2 Mazda Atenza teammates going at it here for the lead. Their 3rd driver, Bo Tedesco, not in today's race. A couple of top 5s this season for Bo, but was recently disqualified at Barcelona, Catalunya. Yeah, the battle for the lead is on. It's heating up here, and it's happening right behind the lap machine of Shadow in the Ferrari, who's going to go a 1 lap down. He went a lap down earlier as well, but the pit cycles kind of flop things back and forth a little bit, and now Shadow's going to go back 1 lap down. 5 cars on the lead lap here in France. JRB not giving up, took a bit of a lower line there through turn 1. And there's a couple of straightaways here where you can use the draft to your advantage. This is one of them. He's going to try to get as close as he can and choose a side to get alongside him. He's going to be on the outside for this next corner, though. I don't think he made the right choice in that regards. But now he's got the preferred line for this corner, and he's going to clear him. He's got him. JRB takes the race lead back, put the number 12 Mazda Atenza back out front here in France. Round 16 of the 2021 GT Cup Series season. And only 3 races remaining, including this one, 2 after today. And I'll be honest, we saw that coming. And here's the thing. Both of these drivers need to pit one more time. We know that Bill is probably going to come in either this next time by or the time after. Would it be smart, I gotta wonder, if JRB maybe did the same? They're both driving the same car, and therefore they're getting the same fuel mileage. You gotta wonder if JRB will maybe pit at the same time or a little sooner than what he could. We know he could go much further, but you know, why do that? It's another 5 minutes on the old tires, and it might give the advantage to Bill. They both need to pit before the end of this race, and it's just a matter of when they decide to come in to get 4 fresh Michelin tires. And they both stay out. I was fairly certain one of them, at least one of them, was coming to pit road this time by, and I'm a little surprised they didn't, and especially surprised that Bill Baldwin decided to stay out one more time. He's got the older tires between these two, and he's losing ground to JRB. So I'm kind of surprised he didn't come in to just simply do something different, stop the gap from growing, get on the fresh Michelins, and see where you wind up with them after he cycles out from his pit stop. But that's why I'm in the broadcast booth, and that's why I'm not out there in the number 21 car. He's a 2-time Super GT Series champion. I'm sure he knows what he's doing, maybe thinking that tires are pretty important, that he wants the fresher tires, or freshest tires he possibly can for this last stint. They're coming back around now towards the pit road entrance. JRB stays on the racetrack. Bill Baldwin comes to pit road. 5 career wins here in the GT Cup Series for Bill. None this season. And he is this close here to changing that here today in France. Back out onto the racetrack now. This puts Juicy J in second, Ty-Mac in third, the 2 Nissan GTRs. But keep in mind, we're fairly certain Juicy's got to come back to pit road. Ty-Mac, though, is going to be very, very close to making it to the end of this race on the fuel and tires he has. The only problem now for him is he's got 17 minutes to hold back Bill Baldwin from passing him before the end of this race. And keep in mind, Bill's coming on much fresher tires and he doesn't need to save any fuel. And let's see if JRB, no, he doesn't. I'm going to say, let's see if he brings it to pit road just as a response to Bill already coming to pit road for those tires. And JRB is going to stay out on the racetrack for one more lap and stick to the classic 3-stop strategy schedule, the 15, the 30, and 45-minute marks. It's exactly what he's going to do here in today's race. We can tell you that Eric RX, the Brazilian driver, has been to pit road for his final stop of the race. So he is good to go with the fuel and the tires that he has to the finish, as is Bowman Nation and Robert Lohman Sr. And now, here he comes, JRB to pit road for much needed service for that number 12 Mazda Atenza. He's led the most laps here in today's race and looks to have a firm hold on the win. Coming back out of pit road, he's going to be in front of Juicy J, Ty-Mac, and Bill Baldwin, and he's going to be your race leader still here in France. So it was the money strategy, folks, the master plan, and it all came together like the A-team. JRB's got the lead here at the Alsace Village in France. Third to last race of the season, round 16 of 18. Even Steven, your points leader, not here for today's race. He will be receiving the 15th place finishing points, which is 7 points towards his championship points total. Ty-Mac comes into this race second in the point standings. Will be about 25 points or 22 points behind even Steven after this one. Bill Baldwin, fourth in the point standings coming into this one. Juicy J, as they run in this race, will leave here today third in the point standings if he can hold on and capture a podium finish. Eric RX making his debut here today in the GT Cup Series. He's been running in the top 5 for most of the day. There's been a lot of attrition in this race. 14 cars started the event, and Eric has been running anywhere from 3rd to 6th in today's race. After a minor hiccup earlier in this race, he has rebounded very strong and has been running in the top 5 ever since. Under 10 minutes remaining now in this race. Juicy J was just on pit road for scheduled service, and the Nissan GTR, he's back down and away. And it was a smooth, clean stop, but evidently he was going for a 2-stop strategy. Thankfully for him, the second pit stop did not need to be a very long one. He's not far away from the finish. But now here, that's the thing. If Ty-Mac can make it to the end of this race on the fuel and tires he has, it's going to confirm him on the podium, because I don't believe Juicy J is going to run him down in time before the end of this race. Problem for Bowman Nation. Some damage on that number 88 Corvette. Back to pit road he comes. He had the fuel and tires to go to the finish, and now he's come back in to repair some damage, take on new tires, and looks to just hold on and finish in 7th here. Some decent points for a driver who's not really known for racing and sim racing on Gran Turismo Sport very often. He just comes out here part-time mostly and just tries to log laps, learn about these cars, and have a little bit of fun doing it. It's been a dominating performance by JRB. Looking for his 2nd win of the season, and that's a huge accomplishment coming from a part-time driver who ran a partial schedule Bill Baldwin, 5 wins in his NOSSCAR GT Cup Series career, winless in 2021, and would love to somehow run down JRB in the closing laps here at Alsace, but he's got the older tires of the two, and unless JRB makes some sort of major mistake, Bill is going to need to settle in on the podium in second rather than standing on that center block as the race winner. Timac 11. Rolex 8 winner this year in the Super GT class. 2 wins for him this season. Second in the point standings, running in third and hoping to hang on for dear life. He's got the least amount of fuel in his tank than anybody else around him. He's trying to make it to the end on a one-stop strategy, and there you see Juicy J, his teammate, is really getting up close to him and hounding him for that podium spot, and he's gonna take it. Down the long, bendy hill, Juicy J takes the 3rd place position away from Timac, and it's been a nice spirited battle between these two drivers all season long. They always come to the track with the same equipment, and they're always so evenly matched. And then when you throw Bill Baldwin, JRB, even Steven, and all of those drivers in there, Jesse Carlson and more, it's just, there's always been about 6 to 9 drivers every race that have a shot to win. Juicy J and Timac are always in there. They always put their name in that hat. And today it was no different. But it looks like Juicy J had the smarter strategy of the two, going with the 2-stopper. I didn't think the 1-stop strategy was the way to go. And Timac proving everyone that it definitely wasn't the way to go. He's going to round on this final lap here to finish in the 4th place spot if all hold station. It is the final lap here in France. Round 16 coming to a close. At the end of this one, even Steven will still be the points leader. Timac in 2nd in the standings. Juicy J in 3rd in the points. Bill Baldwin in 4th in the points. Jesse Carlson, who was not here tonight, 5th in the point standings. And the part-timer, folks, JRB. He's a long-time driver, though. He's been in NOSSCAR since 2019, when NOSSCAR began hosting races on Gran Turismo Sport. Ever since we came, he's been there. And he's going to be in victory lane again. JRB wins at Alsace Village in France. A dominating performance and a 3-stop strategy is going to get him the win here today. What a race. And what a race as well for the Mazda Atenza team. They are both going to finish on the podium in 1st and 2nd. And we would like to thank everybody for joining us. Juicy J is going to stand on the podium as well. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Keep your eyes on the YouTube channel. Congratulations once again to JRB. And we will see you for the final 2 rounds of the 2021 GT Cup Series season coming your way in a matter of just a couple of hours, I believe. Good night, everybody, and stay fast.